Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take your source materials and distill them into the essential story. Today, we're diving into a biography that really maps out the massive shifts in Japanese visual culture over 3 decades.
We are, yeah. We're looking at the incredible decades-long career of Kyōko Aizome. She's just this central figure in modern Japanese adult entertainment and cinema.
Her story takes us from the early kind of controlled theatrical films called Pinku Eiga through the height of Roman porno.
And straight into the explosion of the home video market, the AV industry.
Exactly.
And that's our mission here. Her professional life isn't just a filmography, it's more like a cultural blueprint. We're going to look at how she constantly pushed the boundaries, both legally and socially. Her career really becomes a kind of barometer for Japan's whole media landscape as it evolved.
And you can see how significant she was right from the get-go. Major sources like the Asahi Shimbun called her the first hardcore adult actress in Japan. That's a huge title for a mainstream publication to give someone.
A monumental title. It tells you everything about the controversy and the precedent she was setting.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the context, the background that led her to this kind of career in the first place.
Right. So, Kyōko Aizome was born Kisuko Yamazaki. This was in Noda, Chiba Prefecture, back in February 1958. And based on the biographical notes we have, her childhood was anything but easy.
Difficult seems like the right word. We know she grew up in a really troubled home. Her father was a police officer, but apparently he was abusive toward her mother.
Yeah, and that instability really came to a head when she was about 16. Her parents divorced around 1974.
That kind of disruption at that age. It's got to be a catalyst for something.
It seems like it was. It really looks like it pushed her towards finding independence, and quickly. So soon after high school, she's in the Shinjuku district of Tokyo, and she gets scouted by a photographer for nude magazines. But for her, and this is the key part, this wasn't the final destination. She saw it as a path, like a stepping stone into mainstream entertainment.
And she got on that path pretty fast. She started using the name Kyōko Aoyama, right? And almost immediately, she's working in the adult cinema world of the late 70s.
Which was an era totally defined by Nikatsu's Roman porno films.
Okay, we should probably explain what Roman porno actually was for anyone who doesn't know. This wasn't just some independent, under-the-counter stuff.
No, not at all. It was a full-on studio system genre. Nikatsu basically figured out a commercial model to get around censorship laws. They had this internal rule. Every movie had to have, I think, a minimum of 4 explicit scenes, and a sexual encounter had to happen at least once every 10 minutes.
But they're still high-quality films, right? With real directors and theatrical releases.
Exactly. It was a formula, and it created a huge domestic market. And Aizome fit right in, appearing in films in 1978 like Raping and Pink Salon, 5 lewd women.
So this period really established her. She's a working actress, but she's still playing within the accepted boundaries of the time.
Right. She was preparing for the moment she was going to completely shatter those boundaries.
And that moment revolves around just one explosive project that changed everything.
We're talking about 1981. The pioneering Pinku Eiga director, Tetsuji Takechi, he casts Aizome in a remake of his own controversial film from 1964, Daydream.
And this film was a bombshell.
Oh.
Why? Because it directly challenged that whole regulated Roman porno system.
It became infamous almost instantly. It had content that went way beyond the accepted softcore of the time, which is why it's cited as Japan's first theatrically released hardcore film.
And what really cemented that reputation was Aizome herself. She wasn't shy about it. She publicly admitted, with no apology, that she had performed actual sexual acts on camera for the film.
And this is where the legal context gets really fascinating, and you have to understand it to get the impact.
Right.
So despite her saying, yes, we did this for real, Japanese law for theatrical releases still required censorship.
So what did that mean, practically?
It meant that to be shown in a theater, any depiction of sexual organs or pubic hair had to be obscured. Usually they fogged it out or blurred it.
So even though the act was real, the final product shown in theaters was still censored.
Exactly. But the fact that she did it and said she did it, that was the revolution. That's why the Asahi Shimbun still called it the first true pornographic movie to hit Japanese theaters. The performance had outpaced the law.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The cultural fallout from this was immense. The film just turned her into this national phenomenon.
Her level of fame, or maybe notoriety, was instantly on par with what American stars like Linda Lovelace or Marilyn Chambers were experiencing in the West. She became, Japan's first true adult film superstar.
And the timing of this, It couldn't have been more critical. While Daydream is a huge hit at the box office, the technology is changing everything.
Right. 1981 is the year that adult video, or AV, for home viewing starts to take off, and those videos had slightly different censorship rules.
So Aizome, seeing this shift, just jumps on it. She makes her AV debut in November 1981, just months after Daydream came out.
Which made her one of the very first AV idols. She's not just a movie star anymore, she's the bridge. The figure connecting the old world of censored theatrical films to the new, booming home video market.
She basically created the template for what an AV star would be.
She did. And once she had that level of fame, it became a brand, a powerful one. Her name alone could sell tickets. You see it in films that came after, like 1983's Kyōko Aizome's somber reminiscence.
And she wasn't just on screen. She had a whole other successful career in live performance, in striptease, that she kept going until 1994.
But when you push boundaries like that, you're going to have run-ins with the law, and she did. She was arrested twice in 1983 for indecent exposure during her stripping shows.
But her reaction to the arrest is what really shows her resolve.
It really is. The sources say that instead of backing down, she used her time in jail to reflect. And she came out even more dedicated to her career in adult entertainment. She turned a legal problem into a personal mission statement.
Wait, before we go on, there's this personal detail from that same time that's such a contrast to her public image.
Oh, yeah.
While she's getting arrested and pushing all these buttons professionally, she takes on this massive project, building a 2-story, 6-bedroom house in Chiba for her mother.
That detail is so important. It just reminds you that behind this high-risk career was this powerful family motivation, this entrepreneurial drive. She's building an empire for her family while getting arrested for her art.
It's an incredible contrast.
And her commitment to pushing boundaries went beyond just legal lines. It became physical. In 1986, she made headlines for a performance that involved a very unusual surgical procedure.
She had a hymen restoration surgery.
Specifically so that it could be reversed on camera for a film project.
That is a shocking level of physical sacrifice for a performance. I mean, wow.
And she was incredibly open about it. She gave this quote to a magazine saying that after the operation, she really felt like a virgin again. It's just a bizarre mix of surgery, performance art, and media savvy.
The sources even say that the film made the procedure popular again, that it inspired an older married couple to get it for their second honeymoon. That just speaks to her cultural power.
She even had a brief moment of international fame in a 1986 film, Tracy Takes Tokyo. And then, of course, she went back to the role that started it all in Daydream 2 in 1987.
And it seems like each Daydream film just got more and more exploitative to keep up with the market she helped create.
Pretty much, yeah.
So after dominating the screen and the headlines for that long, what could possibly be the next move?
Well, in 1994, she officially retired from regular performing. But her influence didn't just fade away, it shifted. She went behind the camera, becoming a writer and director.
Which shows incredible staying power. She was basically turning her brand recognition into a new kind of authority.
Exactly. And by 2001, she's even writing a sex and health advice column for women called Anti-Agony.
That's a fascinating turn. From being a figure that challenged obscenity laws to becoming a trusted voice, giving out advice.
It is, and she really seemed to enjoy being a director. She'd turn her projects into these huge industry events. In 2001, she directed and starred with another giant of the industry, Hitomi Kobayashi, the AV queen.
In Kyōko Aizome versus Hitomi Kobayashi, sexual excitement competition.
And they followed that with an AV called Lesbian Wives. She did these big collaborations with other famous actresses like Ai Kurosawa in 2003. It cemented her role as this pioneering figure who was now in control, hiring the talent instead of being the talent.
But even though she retired in '94, she did come back to the screen, right?
Oh yeah, the camera kept calling her back. She made several returns. In 2005, she won the Moody's Best Actress Award for an AV called Widow's Obscene Desire.
And she was 48 when she appeared in a 2006 video, which is incredible longevity in that industry. She finally filmed her last official performance in 2010.
At age 52, that's a career spanning nearly 4 decades. She literally saw the death of one industry and the birth of another.
A career that was just constantly marked by intensity and controversy, both on and off the screen.
Speaking of off-screen controversy, her name was in the headlines again for personal legal troubles in 2007, long after her peak fame.
Right. She was arrested for assaulting her niece.
She admitted it. And the reason she gave was shocking. She said she did it to punish her for dating my boyfriend. She was fined 500,000 yen for it.
A really troubling incident, but it also reminds you that there was a very real, very complex person behind this massive persona.
For sure.
So what does this all mean? How do we put together the legacy of someone who was this huge cultural pioneer, but also had these really stark personal troubles?
I think her legacy is, well, it's complicated, it's messy, and it's absolutely undeniable. Kyōko Aizome was more than an actress. She was a director, a writer, an advice columnist, and a cultural litmus test.
Her career really does track the entire evolution of Japanese adult media, from the controlled theatrical world to the home video explosion.
By breaking taboos, by performing acts no one else would, and then using that notoriety to gain power and control, she created a whole new paradigm for what a star in that space could be.
The sources say that for her, that controversial label eventually became a badge of honor.
It did. She proved that a career in that field could lead to real influence, business success, and a lasting place in cultural history.
It's just a remarkable story. Someone who refused to let any boundaries, legal or social, define her career, and in the process, she ended up defining entire genres herself.
And that really leads to a final thought for you to take away. Aizome's career forces us to ask how we separate the professional persona from the personal reality. How much does a personal controversy, like that 2007 arrest, overshadow or maybe humanize their larger cultural legacy as a true pioneer? It raises that question of whether it's even possible to separate the dynamic, boundary-breaking performer from the complex and clearly flawed person she was.